The wind came early that night, and it was wrong from the very first breath. I know what wind is. I've lived in South Park my whole life. This one didn't sweep across the town. It paused, like an animal holding its breath, and then it blew a note so thin it felt like fingernails on the inside of my skull. I was walking home from Claire's house. Snow cracked under my boots like a brittle glass. I kept thinking someone followed my trail, but when I looked back, there was only my own set of footprints, 2 by 2, marching back toward the streetlight. On the green by the pharmacy, an old man sat humming, hands shoved deep into a coat more thread than fabric. Everyone calls him Fred. He usually mutters to the pigeons, and the pigeons ignore him. He had something in his lap, a book wrapped in greasy brown paper. When I passed, he looked up and smiled at me the way people smile at babies in storybooks. His teeth were missing on one side. He said, without moving his lips much, "You hear it?" I pretended not to hear. I didn't want him looking at me that way. By morning, the grocery boy found a pair of new gloves on the fence near the dump. No one knows how they got there. They were the kind of gloves you buy at a good store. Leather, warm. Fred likes to steal blankets, but he never had gloves like that. Later, the bus driver swore he saw Fred walking into the alley behind the diner, speaking to the coroner. The coroner didn't answer, except the wind skidded around the brakes like it was listening. Someone joked on the bench, maybe Fred's been gifted some winter fashion. Nobody laughed. There's a look people get when they mean, this isn't normal. That afternoon, Hartman said the wind sounded like a flute in the distance when he played outside. He said it made him dizzy. Cartman's face went white. He's a lot of things, but he doesn't go white unless something is very wrong. I woke up to the feel of someone breathing in the thin space above my bed. It wasn't under the covers, it wasn't in the room. It was pressed right against my skin, across my shoulders and neck, a cold that moves with intention. When I sat up, the window was fogged from the inside in a way that spelled nothing. Just smears like faces pulled away. Something scratched the pane. I thought it was a branch. I thought of Fred and the book. I thought of the sound. A whistle shaped like an old lullaby, but out of rhythm, like a language skipping syllables. People started to whisper at school. Wendy had been gone all day. Stan said he heard her say her name at recess, and then she walked away, smiling too softly. Kyle looked at me with his hands in his pockets, like he'd swallowed something bitter. That night, in the mall parking lot, a man found a shoe. A child's shoe, pink and small, half buried in gray slush. There were no prints leading to it, no prints away. It looked like someone had set it down and lifted. That's the thing with this. It leaves signs you can't follow, like a language that refuses to teach itself. Fred showed up at the corner of my street as dusk swallowed the town. He was humming, and his gloves were new. Scuffs of red smeared them, the sort that tries to be hidden in snow. He spoke to me for a long time, his voice thin like winter glass. He said he found the book in a pile by the old mill. Someone threw out something old as bones. He said he'd read one line and the world answered. He told me the book talked back. He described the voice as a wind that learned to shape itself into names. It gave him small things at first. A hot coffee left leaning on his stoop, a place to sleep without being shoved away. It kept him from freezing. It took away his hunger sometimes. He told me he felt chosen and heavy at the same time, like wearing a coat of guilt you can't touch. Even then, I didn't understand what he meant by the word it used most. Reward. He said the thing rewarded him for listening. When he left, he stammered, and I swear he said, "It likes names." Then he flung the book into the gutter and walked off like a man trying to forget a flame he touched. The sky folded like paper, and the town smelled wrong. Rotten leaves and something sweet under it, like spilled cough syrup left to rot. The snow tasted metallic on my tongue when I stuck it out, like a stupid kid. My phone kept buzzing, but no texts came through, only static and a tiny whistle like someone breathing into a half-closed flute. I heard voices at the edge of sleep, not words, but a pressure behind the words, like a mouth forming a hole in the air. It said my name in a way that felt like a promise. On the road to Stark's Pond, a group of us saw Mrs. Mackey standing by the water. She stood absolutely still, arms folded, head tilted in a listening way. Her shopping bag sagged, and something red leaked into the snow. But when we moved closer, there was only a smear, like someone had painted it then washed it away. Her eyes followed us like a tax collector's. When we called out, she didn't blink. And then, for no reason I can explain, she turned and walked into the trees, as if someone had finally reprimanded her. We waited. She didn't come back. The town isn't a town anymore. It's an arrangement of absent things. The radio catches the whistle sometimes, and the voice folds itself through the speakers. Whoever listens hears promises. Warmth, simplicity, no more hunger. The pitch of it is wrong. It settles in the teeth. Fred is the only one we can place with some certainty. People say he found the book and read from it by the dumpster because he wanted to know the words to make the world answer instead of spit him out. He thought he could bargain. Bargains are stories where both sides know the rules. This thing does not keep to rules we can find. It rewarded him first with gloves and bread, but later it started giving him instructions. He was seen at night, standing in front of doors and whispering into keyholes. He left small offerings, tins, old coins, food. After he left them, the offering would vanish. Sometimes the snow around the places where he left things looked tarnished, like an oil slick on snow. The last thing he did that anyone remembers clearly, he walked up to the church steps and read from the book while the wind circled like pigeons. Sheriff Barbrady says he tried to stop him. He said Fred laughed like a child and ran his hand over the pages until his fingers bled. He said the air turned hard and the voices began to answer. The sheriff hasn't been to fame since. His words move like a machine with gears too slow. I woke to my room full of the smell of iron and the sound of something like distant bells underwater. I went to my window. Across the road, the Robinsons' house sat as if someone had rubbed it out with a sponge. Their porch light burned, but the windows were black, like crusted over coal. The snow around their front door had been smoothed into a perfect circle. Within it, a single mitten lay, face down, frozen in the act of falling. I could feel, even inside the house, a draft that didn't obey the windows. It moved like a hand, sliding along the sill, toward the sink where my mother dries the dishes. That night, she whispered to herself, "He kept his promises at first." Then she looked at me like she'd seen a mirror of someone else. I am learning the thing's cadence. First it gives, then it asks, then it takes. Its kindness tastes like winter cough syrup on the tongue, sweet and rotten. If you read this and you're alone, burn it. The pages remember. But ink isn't just ink, it listens. The whistle isn't just the wind. It's the way it calls names, stretching them until they break. It hums through the trees like someone dragging breath through a hollow throat. Fred came again tonight, or something wearing his skin. His eyes weren't eyes anymore. They looked like the holes the wind makes when it tears through snowdrifts. He said he couldn't stop listening, that every time he tried to sleep, he could hear the names arranging themselves. He said the thing was building something. He said it almost had enough. When he turned away, I saw patterns forming in the snow, circles, lines, letters I couldn't read. Each one pulsed faintly, as if something beneath the ground was breathing in rhythm with me. Then I understood. It's not taking people at random. It's collecting us, syllable by syllable. Every missing person, every whispered name, every page, like this one, they're pieces of its language. I think it wants a keeper of names, and when it finds enough, it will build itself a house, a body made of voices, a shape made of every soul that ever answered the wind. It doesn't live in South Park anymore. It's becoming South Park. The whole town hums when the air turns cold. The wind moves through every chimney, every mouth, every gap between words. If you hear it whistle your name, don't look outside. Don't breathe. Don't answer. Because if you do, it learns how to pronounce you. And when it can say your name perfectly, it will finally